So first things first, you want to create 3 layers. The first one is going to be your underpainting, so you can rename it whatever you want to call it to help you stay organized. So one will be the underpainting, the second layer will be just your main or base layer, and then the third layer will be your highlight layer. So that's 3 layers you're adding in total. And then once that's done, you're going to go ahead and select your underpainting layer, and we'll stay here for the majority of this part of the tutorial. And then this is completely personal preference on how you want to display your reference photo. I like it right on top of my sketch, super close by. That's how I like it. You do it however best suits you, but you need your reference photo out. All right, then you're gonna go in your brushes. You're gonna go to painting and then scroll down till you see the oil paint brush and select that brush. All right, now the oil paint brush it is what it says it is. It's a little weird to use because it smears like oil paint does. So maybe just take some time if you're not used to using this brush and just kind of play with it a little bit just to get a feel for it before we start this underpainting layer. All right, once you're ready to roll, double check to make sure you're on the underpainting layer, and then we can go ahead and get started. I like to start from the bottom to top, and then using my reference photo, I'm holding my finger down on the reference photo to get the color that I want, and then placing the color where it belongs on my sketch. Now, you do not have to do it this way. If you want to pick your colors by hand, please do so. I just find this faster. The tool is there. I'm gonna use it. And here I'm not focusing on pulling out every single color. We don't have time for that. This is just your underpainting. I'm looking for the easy to identify colors, the darks, the lights, and the medium tones, just to fill in and color block my sketch. And this does not have to be perfect. With the oil brush on Procreate, you kind of have to work in layers similar to how you would with real oil paint. That's why we have this underpainting, to just build a nice base layer, so when we do our main layer, the colors just look a lot more richer and more, have more depth to, have more depth to them. So you're going to notice this layer is a bit transparent. Obviously we're using the oil paint brush, so the brush is going to push around the paint a bit. It's gonna look messy, and that is perfectly fine. You shouldn't be stressing about this layer. This should be something you're sitting in front of the TV, listening to music, whatever. It should be mindless. You're just picking a color, putting it where it belongs, and just do that until you fill in the entire sketch. It's like you're a 5-year-old doing a coloring book. That's where we're at right now. And if for whatever reason you've made it this far in the tutorial and you're just completely confused on what's going on, it's probably because you missed part 1. So you can go back and watch part 1 to figure out what's going on. I just figured I would probably mention that just in case. But anywho, this is really what I'm doing for the rest of this video, so feel free to skip forward if you would like, or stay and watch if you kind of want to see how I'm placing color. But yeah, this is what I'm doing the rest of the video. I'm just picking colors, putting them where they belong. We are color blocking. And I'm just taking a pause here and turning off the sketch layer just to kind of show the progress of how it, I'm not going to say should look, but how it may look. Everyone's going to be different, but it's going to be messy. It's just, like I said, getting that base color, that underpainting down. Also, if you're choosing to do your reference photo display like I am, you're going to reach a point where the reference photo is getting in the way of your sketch. So what I do is I make a duplicate copy of that reference image. And I do this because if you move an image out of like the canvas boundaries on Procreate, it's going to crop the image. So that's why I work with the duplicate, because then I'll always have one full reference image, and then I use the duplicated one to do my little cropping and trimming. But just double, triple, quadruple check that anytime you mess with a different layer, just always make sure you go back to the underpainting layer. That is so important, very important. Here is where I mess up, and I do exactly what I told you all to not do. I mess with my reference photo. I didn't double, triple, quadruple check that I went back to the underpainting layer and I started coloring. So, oh my goodness, and I haven't realized it yet here, but see, I pick a color and I start coloring, and I am on the reference layer right now. So just don't do it. Double check. Very important. And here's where I realized it when I opened up the layers and I look at the reference layer and delete it because I didn't need it anymore, and my whole helmet just went missing because I was on the wrong layer. Love that for me. Not really. But if you do happen to accidentally delete something, you can undo it by taking 2 fingers and tapping on the screen, and that will undo your last move. In terms of fixing this, thankfully the reference image was pretty much off of the sketch, so I was able to erase as much of the image as I could. And then I just turned down the opacity of that reference image just so I can kind of see the layer behind it. And then I just took my eraser tool, still on the reference image layer, and just erased what I could that I still saw. So thankfully this wasn't like a huge mistake, but you could see how this could be a problem if your reference image was like on top of your sketch or covering your sketch. It would be very, very annoying to have to go back and fix that. So I definitely think that's a flaw in the way that I like to have my reference photo showing, but I'm not changing it. I like my reference photo right there in my face. So, you know, pros and cons. Anywho, I just merged those 2 layers together so that the underpainting was one layer once again, and yeah, that's how I fixed it. And that concludes part 2 of the tutorial. We have our underpainting finished, and look, it doesn't even look half bad. It looks kind of cute the way it is. But moving into part 3, we will start the main layer and really bring some detail and depth into this drawing. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and we'll see you on part 3.